Today's topic of the video is the greatest Larry Bird three-point story ever told, man. So just off the strength of that, before we get into this video, man, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Click that post notification bell, that way you be notified on all things Raw Sports Center. Let's go ahead and get into this video, baby.
Like great shooters in the history of the sport, not good. He was great. He's one of the top 5 three-point shooters of all time. That's how good Bird is. Oh yes, we're not shooting contest. He was phenomenal. Bird was a great shooter.
This is the face of a Larry Bird denier. Because
but look, I'm gonna have to go do that debate. I want to watch that debate. I most definitely want to watch that debate. Man, I done came up with a lot of videos, guys. I'm telling y'all. I was just with my girl house the other day. I was just scrolling, so I got a lot of videos that's got good ideas coming up. Not just Larry Bird videos though, but
about how great of a three-point shooter Larry Bird was had him all in his feelings.
Doggy, it's just math. It's attempts, it's makes, and it's percentage. And there's no way you could ever argue Larry Bird is a top 3 three-point shooter of all time. There's plenty of people that have shot more, made more, and guess what? Made more at a higher percentage than Larry Bird from 3. He's not one of the greatest three-point shooters ever.
Now, as someone who claims to be a student of the game, why in the world would J.J. Redick say something so idiotic? In the words of the great Roy Jones Jr., y'all must have forgot. J.J. Redick, this video is dedicated to you.
I lived that 80s era, and Larry Bird was one of the greatest three-point shooters that's ever played this game. Fuck percentages. It ain't about that. It's about hitting big shots, things that he couldn't do as a player.
Larry Bird hit more big three-point shots than anyone.
oh boy, I would have expected that
in
one.
supreme fashion, while trash talking every step of the way.
We're playing Phoenix and we're way ahead, okay? When we're down the old Saddle Dome that they had outside.
Right.
And Larry, we're playing good as a team. Larry has the worst fourth quarter known to man. I mean, he's throwing the ball to the other team. I'm like, good Lord, we have like a 15-point lead. Next thing you know, we're down 2. And I'm like, oh, how in the world are we going to lose this game, man?
So we have a play out of bounds play. Larry says, I'm going to bust off the play and I'm just going to come out and I'm going to shoot a 3. I'm like, no, don't do that. I'm like, let's shoot a 2, please. Go to the hole and try to get fouled. Let's just get to overtime because we can't win this game.
But, Larry not only tells me that, he walked by the bench and says, typical Bird, he just real.
But once again, just to kind of do like just to kind of chime in a little bit, but I don't know if you guys remember a couple videos back when I was saying that one of the things that I respected so greatly about Bird is that the DB mentality. It's like, okay, I know that I done probably missed my last 5 shots. I know I done probably turned the ball over my last 2 or 3 possessions, but at the end of the day, I still believe in me. I'm still willing to bet on me. So regardless of what's been transpired, it's always another play. So don't judge what I done the last 5 plays. Just watch me show you that I am who I am. You know what I mean in terms of that. And I get the percentages three-point shooting thing, and I get what Michael Cooper and what Kevin McHale is saying too, because Bird has hit a numerous of clutch shots. You know what I mean? So all of that ties into each other. You know what I mean?
3 on your guys and go home.
And my thing is this too, guys. This thing about it. With this, right? I want to be the best analyst that I can be. So I'm never going to be biased in anything that I say. So if I'm a Larry Bird fan, or if I'm a Michael Jordan fan, or I'm a Kobe Bryant fan, if we're having debates on something, I'm not going to make it seem as if the person that I'm a fan of can do no wrong and everybody else is wrong. Because it's art. At the end of the day, sports is just like art, and art is up to interpretation. So your viewpoints and my viewpoints may be different, but we can't hate each other because of each other's viewpoints. All we can do is try to help each other to get an understanding of to why we view it the way we view it. You know what I mean?
Max looking, loops at the Bird, a runner. It's gone! And the Celtics win it! Bird hits and the Celtics win it! 103 to 101, a three-pointer by Larry Bird at the buzzer.
And he gets the ball, jumps out, busts the play, comes out, gets the ball.
I'm gonna have to listen to some of Kevin McHale's stories because, I mean, who got more stories than him? Somebody who played side by side with Bird, won 3 championships with Bird. So I'm gonna have to look at check out some of his videos too.
I just started laughing. I was like, oh, man.
That was Birdie. And he had the confidence, man. That dude had so much confidence. He talked to the coaches. He talked to everybody. He was talking trash all the time, man. But fun. Great competitor, man.
And what Kevin McHale failed to mention is that Larry Bird had not taken a single three-pointer that entire game.
Hey, JJ, I hope you're listening. Larry Bird was the first player to make the three-point shot a strategic weapon. You weren't out there taking 14 or 15. He liked to use it as a dagger in the fourth quarter.
And see,
nobody else used it as strategically as Larry Bird did.
Okay, so I titled this video wrong, my bad, y'all. I was looking at Luka Doncic. I think they had Luka Doncic thumbnails, but okay, I was looking at this all completely wrong. But back to what I was saying, it's like this debate right here. The game, as time goes on, the game constantly evolves, right? So just like how he said, Bird took 1-3 that game, and that 1-3 he took, he made. You look at today's game, how many threes are a lot of them guys taking the game? So obviously they're gonna have more makes, and they probably might have a higher field goal percentage in it, because just imagine if Larry Bird only takes 1-3 a game and he misses that 3. That's gonna look like a pretty 0% field, percentage wise, right? Opposed to a guy that's done took maybe 10 and that's gonna only hit 3, because that's not a high percentage. You take 10 threes and only make 3 of them. So it's like we gotta kind of get down to the basics of what the conversation is gonna be based off of, or what the debate is gonna be based off of.
Even Michael Jordan understood that shooting too many threes was not the best way to win.
When you have that mentality, as I found out in the first game, of making threes, you don't go to the hole as much. You go to the three-point line and you start sitting there waiting for someone to find you. And that's not my mentality. And I don't want to create that, because it takes away from all phases of my game. My game is a fake drive to the hole, penetrate, dish off, dunk, or whatever.
But for some reason, JJ Redick actually thinks basketball is just a math equation. And he couldn't be more wrong. Just because 3 is more than 2 doesn't mean you should jack up a bunch of threes. Larry Bird not only was a great three-point shooter, but he had one of the highest basketball IQs in NBA history.
I remember this game too.
He never averaged over 4 three-point attempts per game in any season, but he shot them and made them when they truly mattered. Like in this game, when the Celtics were down by 3 with 7 seconds to go, and then this happened.
Crowd is standing up. It goes down to Bird. Bird goes up.
Bucket. I gotta write something down too based off this first video. I got another reaction coming up.
And if you think that one-legged three-point shot was luck, well, explain this. Because in that same game, in overtime, with 2 seconds left, and the Celtics down by 1, this happened.
Gains to inbounds for the Celtics, trailing by 1, 2 seconds left. Into Bird, he fires. Yes! And the Celtics win! Larry Bird at the buzzer!
There's something to be said for the guy who does it when you have to have it done, as opposed to those guys that can do it for the first 3 quarters. But do you see Steph Curry? Can you say he's the best shooter that we've ever seen?
No, I don't know about that. The thing is, anybody can shoot it once tied. When you're down 1 or down 2, I mean, how many guys make that shot?
But since JJ Redick loves his numbers so much, let's compare prime Larry Bird's three-point numbers with Steph Curry's 2016 unanimous MVP season. Steph Curry shot 45.4% from 3, while Larry Bird shot 42.3% from 3. Now, in a vacuum, using only this number, the unsophisticated analyst might assume that Steph Curry was a better three-point shooter than Larry Bird, but not so fast. How about we compare each player to the three-point shooters of their own era? In 2016, the league average three-point percentage was 35.4%. This means that Steph Curry was 28% better than league average. In 1985, the league average three-point percentage was 28.2%. This means that Larry Bird was 51% better than league average. So, in reality, Larry Bird dominated the three-point line in his era even better than 2016 unanimous MVP Steph Curry. But numbers don't make an argument.
No,
Their
they don't at
only
all.
purpose is to supplement what we already know to be true.
If the three-point shot was what it is today, back in the 80s, Bird would have scored 50 a game. He made every mid-ranger in the world. He was a 90% free throw shooter. Outside.
But here's the thing. We all say the same thing. Like when you're having these debates of old school versus NBA, right? And they always like to say if Bird could play in today's NBA, if Mike could play in today's NBA, if Charles Barkley could play. When we all have these debates, right? We're debating based off of what was presented and available to them at their time. The three-point shot wasn't as prime real estate as it is today. You have a lot of teams that orchestrates their offense just around. If you look at a lot of NBA games nowadays, what do you see a lot of? You just see a lot of three-point shoot. It's not a lot of teams that you're seeing that's actually running strategical, successful offenses. But when you look at teams like, I would say Denver ran more of a strategical offense in a sense, even Miami, because they didn't have the players necessarily that's capable of playing isolation basketball. Let's just give me the rock, y'all get out the way, y'all move. Or let me come down here and let me jack up 3 points with hands in my face consistently. So obviously, yeah, as the time went on, if you was to put Bird in today's NBA, then yeah, you goddamn right Bird would be dominating from three-point line. Because he was doing it back then before it was what it is today. You know what I mean?
One jumper when he missed the game 4 jumper against Magic, he had a broken hand. I don't recall ever a big shot in a big game that he ever missed.
So, answer this question. If you need one player to hit one three-point shot to save your life, who are you taking? Steph Curry, who lost the three-point shooting contest 5 times to his peers? Or Larry Bird, who won the three-point shooting contest back to
But
back
then, once
to
again,
back?
like I say, I'm not being biased in it, right? So think about the guys that Steph Curry probably was going up against. Who? Dame Dollar. Dame shoot threes like a mug. Klay Thompson, I think one year he went up against. Klay Thompson is a hell of a three-point shooter. So it wasn't, like I say, the three-point shot wasn't as big as it is today back then. So yeah, obviously I'm not going to make it seem like I'm not discrediting what Bird did. What Bird did was amazing. But just as the game evolves, the player's going to evolve too. So just because you might be bringing Bird from back then and putting him in today's NBA, that doesn't just mean that he's going to walk off and he's going to separate from competition like that, because the guys back then too would adjust their games to be able to be more efficient three-point shooters. So you gotta look at it like that.
There were pros back then, there were cons back then. But to say anything disparaging about Larry Bird and his perimeter shooting and his three-point shooting, asinine. Like JJ, he'd probably beat your ass in a three-point shooting contest today.
And though it sounds like hyperbole, this is what a 60-year-old Larry Bird did at an Indiana Pacers practice.
So the whole team is just stretching, and Larry just walks on the court, grabbed the ball, and started jacking threes like, whoosh, whoosh. I'm looking at it, but I'm like, do y'all see this right now? And he made like at least 10 in a row threes, like just in a row. Walked off and sat like he ain't do nothing, like regular. Folded his legs and just sitting there looking at us. I'm like, yo, this guy is nice. I'm like, man, that's a legend right there.
Speaking of shooting threes, Coach, you at the three-point competition, walking in the locker room, who's playing? Did you really say that? Who's playing for second?
Yeah, I did. Because Leon Wood never crossed the three-point line. All he did was he always shot three. So I thought he might be the competition. When I walked in there, he's sitting there, and I said, okay, now they're down to the nitty-gritty. Who's coming in second? You already know who's going to win this. I think they were a little nervous.
And after Larry Bird,
Now you can't take that away from Bird though, man.
threes
Like,
in
you
this
know,
final round, he decided to hit one
Like I
off the
say-
backboard just for fun.
Oh, wait a second. Off the glass.
Bird was that dude, man.
And the walk off with your hand up. I mean, come on, Coach. Come on.
You know, when you're
Now, one thing I will say
but
that I don't agree with is that if anybody can truthfully, with a straight face, sit up there and say that they don't think that Larry Bird is one of the greatest players of all time, I probably don't want to have a conversation with you. Because it's like, how can you like, I can understand the 3-point percentage stuff. I understand those type of debates, right? But for a guy that's won 3 NBA championships, that won 3 straight MVPs, for a guy that's been held into such high regard from his peers, and on top of not just that, but his career, what he's done, how could that not be considered one of the greatest players of the NBA of all time, that touched the NBA, that picked up the NBA basketball, that put on the NBA jersey? I don't agree with you on that.
I had a feeling by when the crowd was going, I had to make the last one, and that one there looked perfect all the way. So if it would have bounced out, I would have felt like an idiot.
Well,
but it went in, I got lucky, got the check, and went home.
Larry Bird.
Oh, ain't no looking ball. That's huge.
The 3rd year in a row.
Now imagine that. Larry Bird, who didn't even see a 3-point line until after he entered the NBA.
Take it in the face and not watch him shoot it. Unbelievable. You know how far away that is?
Somehow became the greatest, most clutch 3-point shooter of all time. And he did it in the most physical era of basketball. I don't care what JJ Redick says.
When I watch Steph Curry off the ball in a playoff game,
Please wait.
getting grabbed and held by Marcus Smart, they're attached to him at all times.
Right.
Then when I watch Larry Bird come off the pin down and no one's within 5 feet of him and they're shooting the gap, you're telling me one is more physical than the other? You're telling me that's more physical than Steph Curry being grabbed and held for 48 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, JJ continues to embarrass his university and diminishes the worth of a Duke degree by speaking with such colossal ignorance in public, with such arrogance and authority. It's idiocy to suggest that a no hand-checking finesse league where people are camping out 42.5 feet from the basket is more physical than the NBA. We're talking about 50 or 60 years ago, but even 30 years ago. When does he come up with this? This defies common sense.
And Michael Cooper, who was Larry Bird's toughest defender in the 80s, took JJ Redick's
Hey, Kyle Lowry was down bad for that, though.
You know what? Watch your mouth, man, when you're talking about former players and who can do this and who can do that. Because the game changed in the 80s because it was so physical. In today's NBA, I don't know what game he's looking at. You can't touch the guy. Anytime you touch anybody, a 3-point shooter, come close to them with their legs.
Oh, I'm telling y'all, bro, I got a good video coming. Because it was a dude who got the balls to, he said something, I've seen a couple posts where they're saying old school NBA wasn't what it was cracked up to be, or old school NBA was overrated. And there was one dude who had a clip of bad shots or bad plays from back then. And I'm looking at, but like the people in the comments were saying that, bro, anybody could put together a collage of bad plays and make it seem as if that era was worse than, you know what I mean? And like, even looking at this is all from new stuff. The stuff I was looking at back then didn't look nowhere near as bad as what I'm seeing right here. Oh, I can't wait for that video, man. I can't wait.
Get more contact. But that guy has no clue of how basketball was played in the 80s. And I guarantee you this, JJ Redick, if you had played in the 80s, this is Michael Cooper talking, I'd have locked your ass up. You wouldn't have got a shot off. You wouldn't have got nothing off. You had spent more time on the bench than on the floor. When I was on the floor, you couldn't have played when I was on the court.
I mean, for JJ Redick to disrespect an entire generation of basketball players, what did he expect?
First of all, Redick don't know what the hell he's talking about. I'm gonna say it. Right?
I agree.
He don't know what the hell he's talking about. I'm like, what basketball was you watching? To say something as idiotic as that is ridiculous. And for JJ Redick, who played this game, I'm very disappointed that he has said something so stupid. When I hear that, I'm like, you really don't know, do you? We had our time. It was a great time. It's their time now.
Yes.
But don't crap on us to prove your point. Yeah. Because it doesn't make sense and it's not valid. I don't hate on these guys.
You're responding right now.
Yeah.
You're not.
I don't hate on these guys. These guys are great. I just don't like the disrespect.
Yeah.
And to say that about Larry Bird, it's just a stupid comment to make.
Unfortunately, somewhere along the way, common basketball knowledge was lost. But hopefully, these Larry Bird stories enlighten you to why the world fell in love with basketball in the first place.
And this particular play down, timeout, they're coming down, and Larry gets me at the top of the key, and he's walking me underneath this basket. He goes, Cooper, I'm ready to wear your ass out. What? Okay, I get down to my best defensive stance. He goes down the lane, he comes off the left side, and Robert Parrish sets a pick. And we knew the play. We knew what was coming up. And Kareem was ready, and as Larry comes off the pick, shoulder to shoulder with Parrish, and I'm trailing behind him, he exits the basketball right about the elbow. And he gets the ball and he goes up, and Kareem stops him from turning the corner. Larry catches the ball, he goes up in the air, and here I come. And I'm like, I'm getting ready to smash this shit, man. So I jump up, and I got my hand, and I don't know how Larry got this ball between Kareem and I. Because Kareem had his hands up. I'm coming with my right hand, and he hit a great pass. Like I said, I don't know how he got it to him. Hits Robert Parrish, and Larry looks over his shoulder at me, and he laughs. He said, I told you, motherfucker.
But it's also had a telling effect on Michael Cooper underneath the basket. They're wearing him out.
That's what made Larry larger than life, because if anybody in today's game, maybe Steph Curry comes off there, they force that shot up there. They try to get the shot off, but that's the difference between Larry. That play right there sauces you up for the next time. Now Kareem's not going to jump out. Now Larry's wide open and shoot the ball. So I would expect former players to really understand that, but I never ever discount another player at any decade. I hate Larry Bird, but I respect the hell out of that man. And Larry Bird was one of the greatest three-point shooters that's ever played this game. Fuck percentages. It ain't about that. It's about hitting big shots.
Hey, that's what it comes down to. Because you can be one of the highest percentage shooters, but when it comes down to the nitty gritty, when we need you to make this, how many people can show up? And like I say, I don't want to crap on any era, the new school or the old school. You know what I mean? Because you can't have one without the other, right? The new school, it came about because of the old school. So the old school paved the way. And from there, it grew, and it grew into what we consider new school basketball. But I think a lot of times that when we have these debates, we become so biased on the guys that we're debating about that we just throw all logic and all common sense out the window to try to justify what we're trying to get across based off our personal life for a person. And that's what I was telling you guys. I'm a Larry Bird fan. I'm a Michael Jordan fan. I'm a Kobe fan. I'm a basketball fan. So I'm never gonna look at any debate from a biased standpoint and say, well, this, you know, just to boost up another player. You know what I mean? If it's somebody who done something better or more efficient than them, then that's just what it is. That doesn't take away from who that player is and what that player's contribution to the game or that player's legacy to the game. You know, but if you did enjoy this video, man, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, click that post notification bell. That way you be notified on all things Rob Sports Center. Because like I always say, just like Drizzy Drake say, man, I'm dropping back to back. I'll see y'all in this video.